This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. We are here in London and I'm joined by Manny Robles of all people. Manny, how are you and what brings you to London?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here in London once again. One of my favorite places to visit, for sure.
What brings you to VCs?
I'll be working with Michaela Mayer this Saturday night. I'll be wrapping her hands and working cuts.
So obviously on that front then, we'll start off with that fight, Michaela Mayer, Usyk-Baumgardner, unified super featherweight title fight. Just get your thoughts on it. People talk about Michaela being the slicker of the two styles, Alessia maybe more aggressive, more powerful. How does Saturday play out between the pair of them? Is it as simple as that?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's one of them type of fights. It's a crowd-pleasing type of fight, you know what I mean? Don't miss it. It may steal the show on Saturday night. It's got the likings to be possibly maybe even one of the fights of the year.
What does Michaela have to do to be successful, Manny?
I think Michaela's got to use her reach, use her height. You know, she's a better boxer of the two, in my opinion. You know, but she can also get in there and bang. So she's a jack of all trades.
I know Michaela is somebody you'll know well from past experiences. How much do you think Saturday's victory will mean to her?
Everything. I mean, add another belt to the belt she already has. You know, it'd be nice to have that green belt around her waist and carry the WBC belt and, you know, maybe one short of being the undisputed champion.
Man, also get your thoughts on the headline event, Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall, undisputed title fight. Your thoughts?
Another great fight, another barn burner. In my opinion, it's going to be a great night of action. I think anybody in attendance or any of the viewers watching it on TV will not... well, you know, they're going to have a blast watching a great night of boxing, especially an all-female card. It's going to be great. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
And obviously, you work with a female fighter, Ramla Ali. How monumental, how big of an occasion do you feel this is to have an all-female card?
It's awesome and it's fantastic, you know. I mean, just like what you just mentioned, Ramla being the first woman boxer to fight in Saudi Arabia, along with her opponent, of course. That was we made history that night, and once again, history being made here at the O2 Arena come Saturday night. It's just awesome, and all-female card. It's nice to be part of it, and it's nice to be part of history, and it's just great.
Manny, just to wait for us to get your thoughts on a few other topics. As we mentioned, Ramla Ali there, she boxed on that Usyk-Joshua 2 card. Interviewed you after Ramla's fight, obviously not after the main event. Some time to digest everything. What did you make of Usyk's victory against Anthony?
Incredible victory by Usyk. Look, listen, Anthony, I've told everyone I'm a big Joshua fan, and it's not over for Joshua by any means necessary. I think he'll be back. I think he's going to come back bigger, better, stronger from this fight. I think Usyk is he's a special type of fighter. I think the heavyweight division, as we speak right now, there's a lot of good fighters at the heavyweight division and on any given night, anybody can beat anybody.
What more on the night would you have liked to see from Anthony going into the fight? A lot of people just spoke about aggression. That was the key word. Were you disappointed with anything that Anthony showed?
No, I wasn't disappointed at all. I think he did the best he could in that fight. I think there's always room for improvement, of course. There's always room to get better. And I believe after this fight, he will come back a better fighter.
You said he'll come back a better fighter. Now, Tyson Fury has called for a fight with Anthony Joshua to take place in December. Just get your thoughts. Do you think it would be wise for Anthony to accept that bout to go into an immediate fight with Tyson, or does he need a bit of a break on the back of a grueling few fights?
I don't think it would be wise for Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury at this particular moment in time. I think it would be wise for him to take one or a couple tune-up fights maybe. And if the plan is to fight someone like Tyson Fury, then you know, I would probably look for opponents that are more or less within that type of boxing style as Fury before you move up to fight someone like Fury. You have to prepare. You have to prepare for someone like him. And at the end of the day, he is the man to beat in the heavyweight division. Tyson Fury is.
As a cornerman as well, Manny, I just want to get your thoughts on Robert Garcia and Angel Fernandez's work. I don't know whether you've seen any of it or not, but there have been some criticisms as to how that dynamic can work on a fight, not having two voices in one corner. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, I was there live, so obviously I haven't watched the fight on TV in order to give you my opinion, but I know they're both very good coaches. I know they both know what they're doing, especially Robert Garcia, with him being the more seasoned fighter, the more the more seasoned coach, the more experienced coach of the two, and that's why he was brought in. And it wasn't a mistake, in my opinion. I think that Robert is an excellent coach. he's someone I have the utmost respect for, and he's got the credentials to prove it. So, it wasn't a mistake for sure.
I know I'm going to be putting you a bit on the spot now, but you mentioned if AJ was to look towards a Fury fight, have a couple of fights just to kind of build his confidence back up, but face people who not necessarily mimic the style, but can prepare him best for Tyson. Is there anyone off the top of your head who you think could be best suited to do that?
As far as styles to be, right off the top of my head, I wouldn't know. Right now, you would have to obviously go sit down and do some research and find a couple of guys out there that can obviously in the gym and the fight itself, and then prepare for someone like Tyson. It's very difficult, though. It's very difficult to find someone like Tyson Fury, and then obviously with that particular style, and that's what makes him such a great fighter. This guy, as big as he is, he can. The way he moves in the ring, he's moving like a middleweight. You know what I mean? And he's a special fighter, man. And he's the man who beat in the heavyweight division. So anybody that fights Tyson Fury is in for a real fight, for sure.
How would you prepare a fighter to go up against Tyson?
Fight him on the inside. I mean, if you're the shorter fighter, definitely you got to be able to fight him on the inside and work underneath his jab, by jabbing to the body, jabbing to the chest, upstairs, downstairs, same thing with the straight right hand, working your way in, staying in the pocket. Don't give him room. If you give him room to box, if you give him distance, forget about it. You got to fight him on the inside.
Away from that fight, I just want to get your thoughts on this past weekend. Andy Ruiz Jr., your former protege, coming up trumps with a victory against Ruiz-Ortiz. Just get your thoughts on his performance and his win.
I've been telling you, man, Andy's the real deal. A lot of people said he got lucky with Joshua the first time around. But knowing Andy the way I know the kid, and I've said this once and I'll say it again, if you got a live dog in Andy. When he's prepared, when he's in shape, when he's 100%, believe me, he can beat anybody on any given night.
Did you watch him against Louis?
I did watch. Honestly, I was on my way over I was on the plane on my way over to London on Sunday, so I did miss the fight. But I've been, speaking to my friends back home and how was the fight. So then, obviously, whatever I've been able to see on social media and whatnot. So it doesn't surprise me that he beat someone like Ortiz. It was a good fight at the end of the day. I think everybody came out very pleased. The fans that were in attendance came out very pleased with Andy's performance. It takes two to tango, as you know, and you don't take anything away from Ortiz as well. He's he's going to go down in the history books as being one of the best heavyweights and one of the best heavyweights out there, for sure.
The WBC have announced that as some form of like a semi-final eliminator for the title. The next one's going to be Wilder-Helenius. People predicting Wilder will come through that. Andy Ruiz Jr., Deontay Wilder, your take?
Well, look, Deontay Wilder's got to get to Helenius, man, and that's not an easy task either. You know what I mean? Helenius is, if you've been keeping up with the guy, he's upset a couple guys already. So, listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And Deontay's got to get through this cat first, and then Deontay, once he does, if he does, then Deontay Wilder, and it's just it's a great fight if it is to happen. Deontay and Andy. It would be a great fight. It would be a barn burner. I mean, with them type of fights that you don't go to the bathroom, don't blink, don't get up and go to the refrigerator to grab a beer, because that fight can be over at any given moment. It's just like two great fighters, in my opinion, and it's just to make the best man win if it is to happen.
Final one, Manny, next weekend, Canelo-Golovkin trilogy. What again, your thoughts on it?
Canelo. I'll take Canelo in the fight, being the younger fighter of the two, and obviously, and I would like to have seen this fight maybe a year or two before the third fight, but it is what it is. We're gonna get it now, and should be a good fight. Should be I take Canelo being the younger fighter of the two, the stronger fighter of the two, in my opinion, and knowing that Canelo has moved up to the super middleweight, light heavyweight, now going back, I believe it's in the super middleweight division. It's just, I think Canelo, he's still in his prime. You don't take anything away from Bivol being the true light heavyweight fighter of the two. I believe that Canelo learned a lot from the fight. He took a lot from it. And I believe he's going to win the fight versus Triple G.
Points or stoppage?
I don't know. I say points, but I wouldn't be surprised if you get a knockout on the later rounds.
Right, Manny, as always, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here. Thank you for speaking to me in ID Box.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.